Morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on which part of the world you are in. A very warm welcome to our panelists, our presenters, as well as the audience. My name is Sujata Gupta. I'm the Director for East Asia Infrastructure with the Asian Development Bank. And I would be your moderator for this session. In the next section in the session, we would hear from our partners, GIZ, and they have, again, a very interesting presentation and discussion on decarbonization of transport in Asia, and they adopt an action-oriented approach. Let me introduce the presenters for the session. We have Arda Eichhorst, who is the Project Director, NDC Transport Initiative for Asia, GIZ. Arda currently heads the NDC Transport Initiative for Asia, which supports GIZ partner countries in NDC implementation in the transport sector. In her CV, she says she enjoys coordinating and cooperating to deliver a paradigm shift towards full decarbonization of the sector, and is also very interested in adaptation and resilience of transport systems, with the overall objective of sustainable mobility for all. The second presenter is Alok Jain. Alok is the CEO and Managing Director of Trans Consultant, a management consulting firm specializing in advisory services for technology-driven public transport operation and management. He is an international expert trainer with the International Association of Public Transport, a fellow of Civic Exchange, and serves in the Council for Decarbonization Transport in Asia. The third presenter is Glinda Batan-Batrina, who is the Deputy Executive Director of Clean Air Asia. She's a lawyer with more than 20 years of experience in policy development for clean air, sustainable transport, and climate change mitigation. She has worked on the Philippine Clean Air Act, implementing rules, and led the Asia Clean Fuels and Vehicle programs, which resulted in cleaner fuels and vehicle policies in Vietnam and Philippines. She is also a member of the Council for Decarbonizing Transport in Asia. With this, Arda, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to say that I'm very honored to be here today in order to launch the flagship publication of the Council for Decarbonizing Transport in Asia. And I'm very happy to be here with Alok and Glinda, who, as mentioned, are two members of the Council, which was set up under the NDC Transport Initiative for Asia. The NDC Transport Initiative is actually a collaboration project of 7 organizations that GIZ is coordinating on behalf of the German Ministry of Environment. And we have set up this council in order to promote a critical dialogue on the full decarbonization of transport in Asia, bringing together 14 experts and practitioners from the region to support us in this critical dialogue and in our outreach activities beyond our partner countries in China, India, and Vietnam under the initiative. And I'm very happy to be here today, able to launch this report after about a year that the council has been set up, and a row of council meetings and discussions that have taken place over the past year. And being today at the point where we can launch the report is excellent. So we have prepared a short video for that, and following Glinda and Alok will have a bit of a commentary on the video as well. And I'm looking forward to present to you through the video also some of the other members of the council. So if we could have the video, please.
Can
Climate
we have
change
the video, please?
are
Yeah.
already felt globally because of rising temperatures, with Asia being one of the most vulnerable. In the region, transport emissions are expected to increase another 48% between 2015 and 2050 if policies don't change. That is why the Council for Decarbonising Transport in Asia has come together to plan the transformation of transport and promote a goal of zero carbon transport in Asia by mid-century. This is the path to zero carbon transport.
We are far, quite far actually, from where we want to achieve in terms of net zero by 2050.
With passenger transport, it has moved a bit faster than other sectors. For freight, net zero just started, especially for intercity, long-distance freight.
With growing vehicle ownership, Asian cities are in forefront of facing a number of challenges such as air pollution, traffic congestion, road accidents, and fatalities.
So I think one of the primary issues that is holding us back is the lack of awareness and the lack of collective consciousness.
The environmental concerns are now seen as big issue, but concrete policy measures are still scanty.
We have somehow not put a lot of focus on freight or water transport when it comes to electrification or decarbonization.
To me, one of the blind spots is the fact that we don't recognize the diversity at the table when we're making policies. We need to include things like safety, especially for women, for example.
At the grassroots level, at the citizen level, I think there is obviously this overarching feeling that I alone cannot do much. You know, what can I do if I change myself?
As a community, how do we revision our cities? How do we revision transport?
It will be the planning of important hubs.
Railways in Asian countries, except a few one, is in shambles. So that is required, because for the transfer of the traffic from the road to rail is important.
It's on the policy to discourage using of fossil fuel.
Electrification is one of these solutions.
Linkages between all of them need to be understood, and they need to be made evident to communities and to people, so that people also feel that, they are playing a role in finding the solution.
With all of this in mind, our vision for an efficient and prosperous transport system by mid-century can be achieved. Imagine a safer and healthier Asia, with fewer and only clean vehicles on the roads and more freight being transported sustainably.
We must act now. Shall we? Yeah, I think you're on mute.
Alok, over to you.
So thank you everyone, and for watching this. And this report, we think, is particularly timely, especially after the recent announcement of IPCC, which also highlighted the fact, the elephant is in the room and we can't ignore it. And what IPCC report also said, that the window of opportunity to act is closing very, very fast. So we have to act immediately. Asia, why Asia? And Asia, because it has an outsized footprint. More than half the world population lives in Asia, out of which more than half lives in just two countries, China and India. And we have a very small footprint in the global GHG and emissions. But still, the way Asia is growing, the way economic aspirations of this continent are, we see that this is going to have a big impact. And this is one area of carbon emissions which is still growing, and there is no control to it. So more than 90% of the transport emissions are actually still fossil fuel based. The use of regenerative or reusable energy is very, very low at the moment in the transport sector. The good news is that a lot of these technologies are already available. They are being developed very quickly. In last 15 years, we have seen big increase in electrification or using electricity as one of the key means to move vehicles, especially in the urban sector. And I think this transition has to be done very, very quickly. The report is quite timely because it not just talks about that everybody already knows, pollution and issues like that we are all aware of, but it also talks about a number of issues which not many people are talking about, which are what we call blind spots in the report. And these blind spots are something that we would like to highlight through our work within the region. And this report is good for everyone. I think it's a ready reckoner for all stakeholders, from policymakers to grassroots civil society workers. It will help them to guide their messaging pathways on how we can actually make those commitments and not only improve the global, the GHG problem globally, but also look at the local level, the public safety issues, public health issues, AQI, and all those things can be addressed through this. So over to you, Glinda.
Alok and Urda, I think the report launched today articulates so well the vision for decarbonized transport in 2050, which is that the mobility needs of all citizens are met with zero carbon options that are integrated in a seamless, efficient, and convenient manner. Now that the report has been launched, the question on the minds of many, including the participants in this forum, is what comes next? We, the council members, would really like that the vision and the recommendations in this report be spread widely. To do this, we need to engage with others in the region working on decarbonizing transportation, working with all sectors, starting with governments, private sector, development institutions, civil society groups, NGOs, and academia. We need to start a discussion in Asia on how to develop strategies at the national level. And a good way to do this would be having online meetings on how to put the recommendations into action, as well as presenting the messages at key transport events, such as this Transport Forum, my organization's flagship event, Clean Air Asia's Better Air Quality Conference, UNCRD's Environmentally Sustainable Transport Forum, among others. Leadership from national governments is key in this journey. Working with champions in government is critical. We need to have conversations with national governments, starting with the transport, energy, environment, and climate change ministries on the needed strategies, policies, and implementation essentials, including budgets, regulation, coordinating local action. Now, some policies take some time to put in place. However, as the report says, there are policies that can be implemented now, such as removing fossil fuel subsidies, improving and expanding public transport options, supporting electric vehicles, and charging infrastructure. Finally, for country representatives with us here now and other stakeholders who may want to discuss decarbonization strategies for transport in Asia, we would be happy to hear from you. I request Urda now to tell us how you can get in touch with us.
Thank you very much, Glinda. And if we could have the last slide, please, where you can find our contact details. It's really what I can only reiterate, that we'd be keen to get your feedback, both on the report itself, but also if you're interested in collaborating with us on pushing the decarbonization agenda. We'd be very glad to interact and see which events we could organize together. If you're a policymaker in a country and you're interested to have a discussion on how to move forward on decarbonization strategies in your country, please do get in touch and we'd be happy to organize follow-up events. So thank you everybody very much for your attention and having this opportunity here at the ADB Transport Forum.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Arda, Alok, and Glinda. I think an excellent report and a very good start. Of course, the challenge will be in its implementation. And so, Glinda, your message, your call to all participants from implementing agencies on this session is very, very relevant. I'd also like to say that ADB would be delighted to partner with you and try and implement this in our projects going forward. So thank you very much.